I'm Faye Stanley, and I'm a musician, and I work with culture-based music and stories and games. These particular strategies work particularly well for ELL students who might be struggling with language. It's also really useful for students that are bodily kinesthetic learners or who learn better through movement, particularly for pre-K through third grade. With this arts integration strategy, we'll be using singing games as frameworks to plug in different kinds of content objectives. For example, we might be working with something like community helpers or historical figures that we're studying in social studies. I can use an example like the African American singing game called When I Was a Baby. Now this is a chant. So if we chant this game, we'd say, when I was a baby, a baby, a baby. When I was a baby, this what I'd do. I'd go goo, this away, goo, that away, goo, this away, and that's what I'd do. So now that's a verse of an old African American singing game. But we can take that verse and we can plug in whatever we'd like. Now if I was going to plug community helpers into that game, I might say, when I was a firefighter, a firefighter, a firefighter, when I was a firefighter, this what I do. And the students would be collaboratively creating a gesture to indicate what are the things the firefighter does. They might use the fire hose. They might climb on a ladder at a fire. Students would also be involved in collaboratively thinking about, is there a sound associated with that particular role in the community? Sometimes they want to know the sound of the water in the fire hose. So those kinds of things plug into the singing game. Now, when students work to plug in those things, they are creating their own symbolic representations of the information. So they might use a gesture, they might use a sound, but all those symbols that the students create are plugged in so that they then have a physical way to express their understandings of social studies content. What we know about fluency within literacy is that repetition and modeling are two of our most important tools to make good fluent readers. And repetition is such a natural part of doing singing games. You don't do a singing game once, you do a singing game over and over and over, particularly when students are creating their components to go in the singing game. So the repetition is there in a very natural way. And the modeling, when it's linked to rhythm and it's linked to music, students have this modeling of expressive speech with changes in pitch, changing in dynamics. All of that happens in a really natural way. So it's a great literacy tool for teachers as well. When a teacher learns this one simple singing game, they can pull it out of their hip pocket and use it over and over and over across all curricular areas. Very rich, very simple, and a lot of fun for kids. Arts integration, it's been a real learning for me over time of how these singing games from all over the world work so well. The truth is, these games were created by children. They were how they played with each other. So they have that time-tested aspect of being the way children created community together and played together. There's also the aspect of the cultural material we're using as well. We are drawing on authentic cultural artifacts to do this work.